We're joined by Alamogordo Tigers head football coach A.J. Cisco. 3-0. It's about as good as you could have hoped for to start this season, and what an impressive win on the road for you guys last week.
Hey, man, I appreciate you having us. It is 3-0. Got to play better than we did on Friday, but when you come out with a win on a long road trip against a quality football team, you feel pretty good about yourselves. But now on Monday we had to get refocused and get ready for PV on Friday.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously similar to the great win against Roswell. You guys got to look forward. But we'll look back at last week's win, and I think, it was a different kind of game. Y'all had your first turnover of the game, and all the momentum was on their side. You guys had to come back in the fourth quarter, whereas the first two games of the season, y'all were trying to hold on to a lead in the second half. So kind of good to see that from your guys, that they could handle that situation and come back and get the win.
Yeah, you go to the start of the game, and this is all credit to Albuquerque High. They are absolutely huge up front, and they are extremely physical, and they kind of just and they had a good game plan for us offensively, and kind of just wore us down in that first half. And you talk about 7-minute drives, another 6-minute drive. And we only had 3 possessions in the first half, and the one was a 3-and-out, and then we scored on the other 2 drives. And so at halftime, we talked to our kids about how important every possession was, because it was going to be a really short game in that regard. But our kids came back, and I thought we played really well in the fourth quarter defensively to get some stops, make some big plays when we needed to. And then offensively, after that first fumble of the first play of the third quarter, I mean, we kind of controlled the game offensively from that point on. And so it's credit to our kids overcoming a little bit of adversity. It's first turnover of the year, and having to bounce back. And then you just start, the consistency of us, and then the mindset of our kids, both on the sideline, on the field, is the most impressive part about this group that I've been around in a long time. Is they never falter of what the goal is and what we're supposed to do. They just stay the course, stay true, kept playing, kept plugging along, and ended up coming with 2-possession victory.
Yeah. And I mean, so much credit to the defense, because they were on the field a lot last week.
Oh, my gosh.
What was the play discrepancy? Because I didn't add it up, but I mean, they had to have had like 30 or 40 more plays.
They had close to 40 more plays offensively. They ran 78 offensive plays, and we were under 40.
Yeah. And I mean, that happens obviously when you have a special teams touchdown and things like that. But it was also because, as you talked about, they controlled the clock and had the ball a lot. And
they converted some third downs and kept drives going for them. And that's talking to our kids. Hey, you got a chance. We got them 3rd and 5. Let's get off the field, and we'd give up the first down. Or we got them 3rd and 9, and we give up the scramble play where he throws it back across the middle to a back out in the flat, then just circling around, and it kind of turns into that scramble stuff. So we got to do a better job of getting off the field in those situations to let our offense go, because our offense has the same mindset. We're going to control the clock, shorten the game, and kind of physically pound on you, and we didn't get that opportunity. And so credit to our offense. They did a good job scoring on the possessions we had and making the most of them.
Yeah. And I think, again, just the defense, I imagine, was dog-tired at the end of the game, and the fact they came up with those stops in money time there at the end of the game says a lot about the mettle of those kids, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. You go to, and when we got the lead in the fourth quarter, and it was 24-20, and they're driving, and they got to throw the ball a couple more times now. Secondary did a good job making plays, making it tough for them to complete passes. And then our linebacking core did a great job of running around and making tackles and forcing them into some tough situations and tough play call situations as well.
Yeah. And certainly the offense, I mean, when you have limited opportunities like that, and part of it was, their own doing and making a couple mistakes here or there, but the fact that they took advantage of those. And, what's always fun when you see late in a game and you can rip off a 60-yard run.
Yeah.
The offensive line, they're still fighting. They're starting. And it felt like in the second half, the Alamogordo offensive line really started to take control of the game.
It did. I thought our physicality kind of wore them down in the second half, and that's just our big boys up front. They had to play a little bit on both sides of the ball, but our physicality kind of wore them down, and then we have a couple of kids that can break some big ones, and we finally got one loose, and he popped one and then got caught, so we got made fun of a lot for that one. And he claimed that he covered the ball to make sure he didn't fumble, and then you look at the end zone shot and he just gets tripped up, and Bryson's out of gas, man. He's having to play a bunch of snaps on both sides of the ball, but that was huge to rip off a big one and then kind of put that game away. Once we ended up scoring that, we kind of knew, hey, we're gonna get a stop here and it's over. And we also felt very confident offensively that they weren't going to stop us anymore. And then even if we got into a 2-minute situation like we did in the first half, when we have to go a little bit more tempo and we get going, our kids are so used to it from doing it the last 3 years that it wasn't a change. We weren't worried about time. We managed the clock really well, controlling our timeouts, managing them, getting out of bounds. So we understood in that situation we're going to have success regardless whether we can just run out the clock or if we can have to go really fast and do a 2-minute drill.
And then, you throw in all 3 phases of the game and you get, a huge kickoff return for a touchdown. I mean, I know Point after touchdown wasn't a great deal for you guys last week.
That's one of those weird ones about the point differential. And when them kicking, we're holding them to field goals, and then we miss the first PAT, and then you just say, well, we got to go for two. Yeah. That one was weird.
Yeah, but getting a kickoff return for a touchdown, I mean, I've more of stood out to me as your guys' kick coverage is so much better than what we've seen in recent years, and it shouldn't be too big of a surprise that your kickoff return should be improved as well, and we saw that.
Yeah, and that's a credit to Coach Singleton, our special teams coordinator, coming up with something. We're doing things a little different this year. In the past, and as long as I've been coached 22 years, we've done special teams in the middle of practice and kind of try to break up practice, and it doesn't get nearly as much time devoted because you get one phase per day. So if Monday's kickoff return, they get about 20 minutes combined. What we did this year is every Tuesday we go out there after school, after a morning practice, we go out there after school and we do a special teams practice for about an hour and 15 minutes. That's nothing but special teams. And that's kind of benefited us because we get to focus just on that. It's not trying to combine it in the middle, and there's kids are thinking about offense, defense. They get an hour of just focusing on special teams and being very controlled. We don't go out there in pads. It's just, hey, let's make sure we know what we're doing, able to execute it. So that's a credit to Coach Singleton to coming up with that. And you can see the difference in the way we cover kicks. The way we've had a couple of chances to return some kicks. If we get a couple blocks early in the first two games, we probably pop another touchdown. And then you get Tebow to break one out because we get thrown blocks, and we kind of change our scheme what we're doing because we have a different scheme for kickoff return.
Yeah. And that young man's fast. I mean, we've seen a few times this year, but when he gets in the open, there's not many people going to catch him. Yeah. All right, we'll switch gears, obviously, with you guys taking the long road trip up to Farmington this week and taking on Piedra Vista. That was probably the highlight of your season last year was the double overtime win over Piedra Vista at home. Now you go on the road and have an opportunity to go undefeated in non-district, which, that's obviously you guys know what you have to do in district, but it puts you in such a wonderful position. What's the mindset for everybody? Just similar to what we've seen over the first 3 weeks?
Absolutely. Our kids, if you talk to them, they know about being 1-0 on Friday, and PV's a quality team. I mean, they graduated a lot of seniors, but they're well coached. Coach Howell has been there for a long time. He was the defense coordinator back when I was playing at Roswell High with Coach Will Height, and so he was the DC when we played in the state championship game. So he has a long history at PV. They've had a lot of success at PV, being in state championship games, winning district championships. So we got our hands full. It's how we handle a long road trip, and then how we get off the bus and be able to play against a team that gave us fits last year. I mean, it's a different offense. It's a flexible offense. It's going to line up, try to pound it, and this game's going to be really short in possessions.
Yeah, that's certainly going to be something that will be worth watching. But, again, similar to last week, you guys are sort of prepared for that. You've gone up against two teams already that are, I guess Albuquerque has the main one. I thought Deming would be more ball controlled than they were, but that's not how that worked out. But, I think defensively you guys, sort of know what to expect other than maybe a little bit more misdirection with this offense.
It's a ton of option. Yeah. So you'll get a ton of options, some misdirection out of the flex bone. When we can force their hand and get them into 10 personnel and get them into gun, it becomes very pass-heavy offense, which we can handle that. So that's huge for us defensively, is get them behind the sticks, force them to get into the shotgun and have to do something that's not really what they want to do. They want to line up, be physical, and pound on you. They want to run midline. They want to run veer. They want to run speed option. And the Marquez kid is pretty dang good, and he can go. He's a different quarterback than the kid they had last year. Last year was really big and good athletic. This kid can break some and get loose and get gone.
And I would say for the defense, that's something that they go up against in practice as well, because you guys are running speed option and things like that.
They see it a lot,
but they get to see somebody who's super athletic and it can break one. So I mean, they at least get a taste of that most days.
They've had to deal with that for about 4 weeks now with Best running it. But like midline's a new play. We don't run midline in our offense, so that's a new concept that our defense tackles and inside backers have really had to work on this week. We see a ton of veer with us offensively, so that's not a shock to any of us defensively, and then they see a ton of speed option with our kids. So how we handle those situations and just being physical up front to match them, because they are a big physical team that is going to try to wear you down.
Similar to Albuquerque High in terms of size up front, or
not as big? Not as big. We'll match up pretty good with them size-wise, and that's just, can we do it throughout the game for 4 quarters, because they don't have nearly as many kids going both ways as we do.
Yeah. And for you guys offensively, I mean, there'd be no need to really change anything up. That's one thing you could say is offensively, you guys, the exception of a few drives here or there, this team has moved the ball well in every single game this season.
We have, and that's a credit to not just the skill kids in Bloom, Sarah and Best. It's a credit to all our guys up front. And you get our MVP of last week was our fullback, what we call our pipe wrench, and Kamari Patterson. And him blocking. I mean, never catches a pass, but he blocks his tail off. I mean, that's how huge those guys are up front. And controlling the game and controlling the physicality and reestablishing line of scrimmage every chance we can is huge for us. So that's something that we're not going to change who we are. We do have a goal that we're going to throw the ball, try to complete more passes this week. But when you go to Albuquerque High, we threw the ball 4 times and we were 4-4 passing. So, I mean, that's a win. If you don't have to throw the ball, don't throw the ball. And nothing's going to change for us. We're going to line up, and if we have to throw it, we're going to have a lot more confidence trying to complete some things and try to make people be a little bit more balanced with us, because we already know where we're going to get. They're going to load the box, and they're going to find out where our take is at, and we know where we're going, and they know where we're going. It's if we can handle it and they can take care of it.
And I would also say that you guys have really good skill players on that outside, whether it's Bowman or Arona or on and on. That if they do decide to overload the box on you, you've got some really good options on the outside.
We do, and that's one of those things that, and nobody's really forced our hand at it yet, is we protect our run game with RPOs, and nobody's really forced our hand to have to really throw it. And then last week, you see Best out there throwing a smoke screen under 2 minutes. And I'm like, boy, we don't do that. That thing's killed right now. We've got to run the ball. We can't have an incomplete pass. But we do protect it, and those kids can make plays. You see the 2 smoke screens we threw last week got 10 yards a pop. And so we do have athletes to protect us and give us a shot. If we have to throw the football, we can get loose and make some big plays in that game, in the pass game. So it's got to have a lot more confidence in us that if we get in that situation, we can do that. And you kind of saw it in that drive at the end of the game, or at the end of the first half, when we had to get into our 10 personnel packages and really get going, and then we ended up completing that pass to Tebow in the back corner of the end zone.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, safe travels. We know it's about as long a road trip as you can make in New Mexico for a football game.
I don't know if there's a longer road trip from Alamogordo anywhere.
No, I don't. Well, yeah, I don't think you guys are going up to Tucumcari or Clayton anytime to play a football game.
I don't know, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But this is about as far as you can go in New Mexico from Alamogordo.
Yeah. Well, we look forward to it. Hope it's a great game and chance to be unbeaten going into district. Be obviously a great start of the season. Good luck, Coach.
I appreciate it, man. Go Tigers.